Good morning, good morning, happy hump day. This is AskZena Radio on the Good News radio station. I am so glad that you had a chance to join me. I'm so glad that I made it in. I was just talking about La Cienega, but y'all know, right? Right. So thank you so very much for joining me on the Good News radio station. And I am Coach AskZena. We are going to conclude our happy, healthy relationships today with my phenomenal friend. I won't give her a title. But you are going to learn some stuff today, some wisdom. So, hey, if you've been listening, part 1 was about me talking about the an experience I had with understanding my inner child and an imprint that I had that really permeated all of my relationships, including money. So part 1 was all about your relationship with money. And I know y'all saying, why do I need a relationship with money? Because you want money. Because you want a good relationship with money. Because you want it to flow, and money is energy. And then last week I talked about my relationships with others and how that imprint really affected me in the awareness. And I'm still, discovering. And when I say undiscovering, that's because I have resistance. And we all have resistance when there are things that we, when the truth like hits us in the face. And so, I'm discovering things and I'm resisting, which is the undiscovery, but I'm a reflective person and I'm going back and saying, okay, Zena, what is this? And sometimes we just need to be with ourselves and sit with ourselves to say, what is this? What is going on? Because the commonality of situations and circumstances that repeat ourselves, that repeat themselves in our lives. Whew. But I want to take a couple of seconds today because today is 9/11, and I jumped to that because I really want to just pay homage and just a couple of seconds just for those people that we lost for today, and for those people that survived 9/11 and are still struggling with the issues of 9/11. So that is an imprint as well. So just a couple of seconds, bear with me, just going to be in silence. Yes. So I really like to be respectful of all energy. And as I was driving in, I remember that day so vividly, sitting there and watching the tragedy of that day unfold. And just, I was in California and people were in New York and in D.C., but just realizing that the aftermath of that, and, some of that affects the relationships that we have. And we don't just have relationships with individuals, we have relationships with ourselves. I'm talking about personal relationships, I'm talking about children relationships, I'm talking about intimate relationships, friendships. And I think that we have grown to be a society that just puts band-aids over things and shoves everything under the rug, and we don't deal with our emotions. And so we don't really get to tap into that true abundance, divinity, joy that is destined for us. And I mean destined for us, that once you open yourself up to start exploring, and that undiscovery phase is not going to feel comfortable, but get through it, get past it, and get on with your life. So a couple of announcements I wanted to share. one really, really, really exciting announcement. You know, this week, the Good News radio station is having their first showcase in Hollywood, and tickets are we still have some tickets. Tickets are $10. You can get the tickets I'll put the link on Facebook and Instagram, but you can also go to Instagram under the Good News radio station and our profile page. You can buy the tickets or you can get tickets at the door. It is going to be amazing because all of our personalities will be there. You'll get a chance to experience the Good News radio family and the Good News sports team and see all the personalities. It will be an interactive event. So it's not just people standing on stage and talking about their show. It is an interactive, fun, variety show event, and come out and celebrate with us. I've got a special gift for everyone who comes out because it's my birthday and because I'm a giving person. Yes, 9/14 is my birthday, but I have a special little treat for everyone who comes out. And we'll be giving away t-shirts, and the different personalities will have t-shirts, and you'll get a chance to talk to us. Hey, maybe you'll get a chance to introduce yourself and tell us that you want to be on one of our shows, or you'll get a chance to meet the CEO, Keith, and owner of both stations, and maybe you can talk him in to you having your own podcast. Woohoo! Come on out. All right. So that's September 14th. The other announcement that I have is I'm actually volunteering all my birthday weekend at a women's event. It's called Black Business Women That Rock. It's in Carson. It's a DoubleTree hotel. Come out. We're going to be doing workshops on emotional, mental, and spiritual. But here's the good thing. You get to bring your kids, right? It's parents and it's kids. It's women and your children. Come out and let's start this right. Let's get the children into a good vibration. Start thinking about their spirituality, their emotional well-being, and get them to growing and developing in the right way. So you can go to Black Business Women That Rock, and it's in Carson, Saturday and Sunday. I think that's it. Oh, no. I have another announcement. One last announcement. I talk about AVOW, AVOW, which is Authentic Voices of Women. And I have 2 networking groups where I meet in Redondo Beach and I meet in San Pedro. On September 21st, I'm going to be doing another healing and revealing ceremony where we're celebrating you. I only invite a small, limited group of women because I want it to be really intimate. And we share food and we fellowship and we just cast all of our burdens, worries, and concerns out into the ocean. And remarkable things have occurred as a result of that release ceremony. So if you want more information about that, you can reach out to me at coach.askzena@gmail.com or any of the social media platforms under AskZena. Hey, just ask. And if you want to be a guest on my show and you have something that you want to share, or you're a woman and you want to use your voice, please get in touch with me. coach.askzena@gmail.com. Yes. Okay. That was a lot. We are going to be talking about happy, healthy relationships, but we have to dive back a little bit today and talk about your inner spirit and conflict resolution. Because if you know your triggers and you know what the imprints are, you'll be able to have really, really remarkable relationships. And you'll have boundaries on those relationships that you really don't want, that are draining you, that are sucking you out of your energy, that are pulling you down, wearing you down. And some of us, and myself included, stay in those darn relationships because we don't know the difference. Hello, my arm is raised. Woohoo. Seriously, some of us stay in those relationships because we just don't know any better. And when you know better, you do better. Right? So I have a remarkable guest today who's going to jump out. But I want to start off with just sharing my story, a little bit more about my story. And someone did say to me, it's like kind gosh, you really share a lot. For me, my walk of life and my experience really hasn't been for me. God must have known that I was strong enough to endure some of the stuff that I have. But there are moments that I have that I am just down and out. The good thing is that I'm a reflective person, and I will bring myself up, put my big girl panties on, and keep it moving. So yesterday was one of those days. Why was yesterday an emotional day for me? Do the Zena dance, because I'm going to go in and out of this conversation. So yesterday was an emotional day for me because yesterday was my youngest son's 22nd birthday. And, okay, I'm not going to do this. And we have been sort of disconnected for the last year or so. And when I say disconnected, we haven't had a conversation. My son doesn't talk to me. And it's very painful for me. So yesterday when I was driving home, I realized I didn't get a chance to say happy birthday to my baby. And I sat with that on my drive home. And God really took me someplace last night before I went to sleep. So I got bags under my eyes because I really didn't sleep very much. But it's not his fault. It's not my fault. It's just part of the growing process. And I can say that now with a loving heart versus me being in the pain and the anger and the disappointment of not talking to my son and not having a good relationship with my son. I absolutely love him. He has been a vitamin for me the 22 years, even in the moments of absence. So why am I sharing this with you? Because some of the things that I've learned about myself actually passed on into this relationship and put us in this situation that we're in. So let me just put a disclaimer out right now. I don't need anyone saying, oh my gosh, your son doesn't have a relationship with you. That doesn't make any sense. You know what? Transition doesn't make any sense. Transformation doesn't make any sense until you get to the end of it and you have that aha moment. And even in my pain and even in my sadness, I'm having aha moments because I realize that I can pray for him and that he is growing. I know that my son and I will have a relationship one day soon. So what I learned about myself, I'm going to go back, is my memory was when I was 6 years old that I had to go collect cans with my grandfather, and I was raised by my father's parents. And my grandfather had a good job, but he used to collect cans and cardboard at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was the one that he would ask to go. Being Hispanic and African American and French Creole, sometimes the boys in the family don't have to do the things that the girls do. And so if I didn't do that, then I would be called names. And I know that sounds really cruel. You wouldn't do that to your children today. Maybe you would. I don't know. But that's just my existence. And so from that experience, I realized that I needed to people please. I needed to put Zena in the back burner. And as that imprint transcended into my life and manifested in other things, it manifested in overcompensating. It manifested in not setting boundaries. And so my younger son and I overcompensated with him. It wasn't clear to me that I actually spoiled him and gave him too much. But what I did, in his opinion, was that I smothered him. And so as he decided to evolve and grow into his manhood, he realized that his mother was smothering him. when all I was trying to do was show my love, but because I was overbearing and overcompensated, I pushed him away. And I know that he will realize and has realized that I'm a good mother and that I love him so much. But that's what imprints, and that's what that memory has manifested for me. And it's just not with my son. It's with several relationships where I've been the overbearing person and overgiving and didn't set my boundaries and didn't set clear intentions. And so those relationships fostered other things, some positive and some negative. And so I wanted to share that with you. It's very painful for me to share that with you. But if you don't know what your triggers are, and you go through relationship after relationship, even in jobs, even your relationships with money, your relationships with your parents or with your family, you will have some commonality, and hopefully you'll start to recognize, like, why does this keep happening to me? And then just sit down with yourself and think about the commonality in all of these situations. And hopefully you will come to the awareness, and you will be accepting of the awareness to realize your part in that journey, in that process. So I'm going to bring my friend out today who has, oh gosh, I've known her for I think 8 years. She's been very instrumental in helping me heal. When she opened up that imprint a couple of weeks ago at this inner strength gathering at a park, I had no idea that 6-year-old girl was so wounded by accepting other people and how they treated her, and how now I'm 52 and that still plays a major part in my life right now. Trying not to cry. Anyway, let me bring my guest out so I can wipe my eyes. Tanya, come on out.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh my gosh.
Thank you.
Save me from myself, girl.
I am listening, and I have my tequila bottle with a straw in it, and I am just feeling for you. However, my dear, I just want to, you know how hard it is for me to be quiet, and I'm listening, and I want you to release, and I want your voice to crack, and I want you to stop because you can't go on, and I want the tears to flow. I want your nose, your pretty nose, to stop up, Zena. I want your eyes to get so heavy that they close. Yes, even if you're on the air, because what you're doing is you're releasing. Tears are the spirit's way of cleansing itself. Sometimes we cry consciously. Sometimes the tears just flow, and we cannot stop them, and we shouldn't. You know, you're not driving. So it's a safe environment. You are a vowel. As I've told you so many times, you are an authentic voice. Okay? You are a woman. And so as a vowel, you represent what a vowel stands for. And so I hope and I pray that all the females who are listening to you as you share your internal struggles and realizations, your growth and your healing, your self-acceptance, self-love, self-understanding, and self-trust, especially self-awareness. I hope that these ladies, especially 40 plus, are listening. I hope they're becoming inspired and influenced and motivated. I hope they understand that they're not in their situations alone.
Yes.
And just as you share, they can share. And just as you release, they can release. And just as you become empowered by sharing and releasing, they do so as well. Yes. So I just want to take this immediate moment to thank you, my dear. Thank you for empowering, motivating, inspiring, encouraging people who are listening and who shall listen to your podcast.
Thank you. Thank you.
I thank you from God as well.
Thank you.
If I may be so bold to do so.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Yes, thank you so
now,
very
much.
Now,
I'm telling you, they call me T-Dog, right? No. Let's just lighten the mood a little bit.
Yes,
It's
yes,
too early.
yes. Totally. I'm with you.
Yeah. I
So,
am so glad to be on your show today.
oh
I
my
am
God.
so glad to talk about inner child conflict, and inner child resolution. I remember in detail your attendance at the Soul Release in which we talked about these things. And I remember your 6-year-old and things, that particular thing. And people don't get it. People, the inner child, if people are wondering, who is the inner child? Well, the inner child is the you before you were you.
Yes.
Currently, who's listening to this is your adult self.
Mm.
Yet within your adult self is your inner child. He or she never goes away. They live with you until your body deteriorates and your spiritual energy goes on. So
Mm.
your inner child is always with you, even if you're not acknowledging him or her. And
Wow.
I focus on the inner child to represent the ages of 4 to 11. I just focus on that age group or that age bracket intuitively. And so things that have happened to us as young as 4 years old, and it could be younger, can affect us as we become adults. And then what you have is a damaged child operating, okay, through the life of an adult. We need to think about that.
Mm.
You don't let your 4-year-old hold a pair of sharp scissors, right?
No,
But
yeah.
as an adult that's 44, you might be holding them sharp scissors. But guess who's inside of you? That
Wow.
damaged inner child. So I want to give that visualization to try to help people understand that even as an adult, even as an accomplished adult, outside looking in, you got everything going on, you've done everything right. There still can be a part of you known as your inner child, which is screaming and crying out for attention, love, support, and healing. Whatever it didn't get when it was its first self. You
Wow.
see?
That's powerful. So, whatever I didn't get as a child, as that inner child, and I think about I had through the exposure of learning about this 6-year-old, right? Because we don't
Mm-hmm.
think of ourselves as that 6-year-old anymore. We don't think of ourselves as that 3-year-old. We think of ourselves as I'm 52, going to be 53, on Saturday. We
Exactly.
don't think of ourselves. So what you're saying, and because I'm experiencing it, that's why I'm doing this 3-part series on this. I am going through this, y'all. I drove home from El Segundo crying. I don't even know how I got home to, where I live. But, so what you're saying is what I didn't get. Oh, what I didn't
Yes.
get as a child is manifesting as the adult Zena.
Exactly. And here's the deal. You have to have some level of self-awareness, okay, before you can embark on the journeys that you embark on, that I embark on, and that some of those who are listening will embark on. So you have to be open-minded and receptive to the concept of the inner child existing. And then you want to acknowledge him or her. And one of the ways you can do that is simply through memory, through re-experiencing, through like we did at the park.
Yeah.
We centered ourselves firstly because I didn't want you guys to come and talk about your inner child at a specific age that you had already figured out you wanted to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
What I wanted was for your spiritual self to give us the age of the child that we needed to focus on at that moment because your spiritual self is wise. Your ego becomes learned, can become intelligent, yet your spiritual self was born wise. It knows everything that it needs to know. So with that being said, I knew that after centering, everybody's inner child would represent the focus of their individual spiritual selves. And so when you came out with the 6-year-old, and for some people listening, okay, yeah, you had to take out trash, you had chores. What's the point? Why you bent out of shape over that? Here's the deal. First of all, we're all individuals. And as I told you before in private sessions, you're sensitive energy. You're also intuitive energy. You're also empathic energy, which means empathic energy just means you're sensitive to energy. It also means that you're sensitive to the energies of other people.
Okay.
Okay? So with that being said, you're this sensitive energy who's very aware. You have this person selecting you from a group of others, no doubt some were older and more capable, but selecting you, which almost seems like, why are you picking on me? right?
Mm.
And then selecting you to do this thing, this chore at this ungodly hour, you know? With you and that sensitive energy, that empathic energy, you saw yourself being picked on, pulled out of
Wow.
a group of capable individuals and then seemingly picked on to do this thing because it wasn't a joy-filled thing at this ungodly hour. And then if you chose to just respect your own feelings of, I'm sleepy, Pops, I'm going to sleep in today. Let's do it at 3:30. You get ridiculed and criticized.
Yeah.
Maybe even bullied and bashed. You get
Yeah.
humiliated. And so what you learned was that, okay, I got to just do what people ask me to do so that I don't feel this way, so that I don't get this treatment, so that these words aren't hurled at me. I am sensitive energy. I do not understand this as a 3-year-old, but my natural reaction is to not feel what I'm feeling. So how do I, as a 3-year-old, resolve this feeling?
Wow.
I do what I'm asked to do. And then it become ingrained in you
Yeah.
to constantly overcompensate. I want to focus on something because you specifically mentioned your son and the overbearing love. Here's the deal. You love and you parented through your inner child damage. That's what you did. And you're not to blame, Zena. You're not to blame. You had no idea that your inner child, let's say around 3 years old, was mothering a baby, was mothering a toddler, a child, a teen, a young adult. Until you became aware of that inner child and that damage and how it applies to your parenting, you were not aware that your inner child had already been a parent before you actually physically became one.
Oh, my goodness. First, I have to tell you 2 things. When you talked about that I was being picked on, that was another awareness that came to me just now, because in work relationships, I tend to have supervisors that I feel like are picking on me. And even though I'm very competent and an accomplished individual in my profession, I tend to be oversensitive, and then I overthink. Well, what did she mean by that? Well, what did he mean by that? Well, why didn't I get that performance review? And so, let me tell you. Oh, my God. So I left corporate America to become a consultant. I could probably be a vice president right now. But because of my insecurity, I thought, well, I'm going to do this my way. So when job situations became difficult, I'm a runner too. I've announced that before. I'm like, psh, I'm out, bounce. Rather than stick through or maybe realize that someone really wasn't picking on me, that this was a growth opportunity. And so stay in that situation to have financial security. Again, going back to the money and my relationship with money, which was part 1. Y'all, this stuff is so powerful. Oh my gosh.
Breathe.
So, oh my gosh.
Breathe through the moment. And I just want to point out something, because you also mentioned the word triggers earlier. And then I happen to deliberately, unconsciously, yet deliberately use the word picked on,
yes,
which became a trigger, right? And then we have to understand that the reason why you feel certain people have picked on you, which likely they did not, you felt that way, is because the trigger from your inner child.
Yes.
So you're this professional at this age, this accomplished woman who could be a VP, yet emotionally you're thinking people are picking on you because of a childhood issue that likely occurs around age 3. So you see how the damage of the inner child will affect the rest of our lives unless he or she is acknowledged and comforted and consoled, understood, respected, supported, and protected. When you do that for your other kids, why shall you not do that for your own inner child? Why not? And those who have children, they have the best tools for bringing out your own inner child, because sometimes it's hard. You might work in a profession where it's so mentally driven and it's such a professional environment that it's hard to break down to the essence of who you are. And so with children, I use all kids around me who like me as tools.
Wow.
I play with them. I do what it takes to make them laugh. And then whatever that is, that's what I'm going to keep doing because their laughter brings me joy. And my activity brings them joy.
Oh
You
my
see,
gosh.
so we're exchanging energy. And then I get to connect with the part of me that maybe used to could do those flips and stuff a little bit easier. Still, whatever the kids need me to do, I'm going to do it. I use the children, okay? I use them for the energy, for the beautiful, pure energy that they are.
Yeah.
And so having kids or grandkids around you can help you with inner child connection or reconnection. They can also be tools for inner child healing and inner child resolution. Okay.
Ooh.
I just want to remind you again, though, picking on, that was a life lesson.
Mm-hmm.
That was an issue of your inner child. We have to acknowledge that you did not pass the test. Okay, that's just the truth. You were not aware. You've become aware. Moving forward, I'm going to remind you that test is yours to pass.
Yes.
You have to stop thinking of people as picking on you. And even when you have that thought, it's okay because you're going to have that thought until you do not. So when you have that thought, you just say, okay, Zena, here you go. And change your thought, change your feelings. That changes your energy. So immediately once you have the thought, acknowledge it and then change it. You're not being picked on. You're being selected to pass a test that is based on your own self-awareness.
Oh,
okay?
You have to repeat that.
Feel grateful that you've been selected, right? God is looking at you like, Zena, here, I'm putting you here. What you going to do?
Wow.
What you going to do, Z-Dog, right? MZZ Light, what you going to do?
Wow.
I think you're going to pass the test, right?
No, I'm going to pass the test.
Yes, you are.
But, oh, my gosh, Tanya. I said 35 minutes. You're going to be in here for a little bit.
Hey, I'm here.
Okay, because we haven't even gotten to the happy, healthy relationships. But really, the revolution of all of this and the discovery of all of this will bring you into happy, healthy relationships. I know I'm boo-hooing today, but I am just in awe because there are two things that I have to say. I mean, okay. So you also talked about the inner child was mothering. So that wounded child was actually the mother to my son, which is so profound to me. Like, I feel like I need to go to the ocean just with that and sit all day. But that was so amazing to me because my son was actually supposed to be born on my birthday. So his birthday is 9/10 and my birthday is 9/14, but I got sick and so I had a C-section and had him early. But I've always said that he was my mirror. He was my mirror.
Oh.
Because there are things that he's gone through. He was born with some struggles. And there are things that he's gone through. And so one of the things that he was born with severe club feet. And we had to have him in cast from 3 days on till the point that he was like 13 months. And he had the bar between his legs. And the doctor always would say, the orthopedic would say, this shouldn't really bother him. Children are resilient. Well, he used to cry so much. And I went through postpartum depression. And so I lived in this duplex and God revealed to me that he wanted to show me my son's pain, not look at my son as being a pain, but show me my son's pain. So I was coming down the staircase to make him a bottle one night, and I missed 4 steps. And as soon as I missed those steps, I broke both of my ankles, being a single mom of 2 kids. But when I broke the ankles, I didn't feel any pain. I immediately heard, this is what he's experiencing. And
wow.
Yeah. And so I've always said that he's my mirror because of what he goes through. And so even in this time that we're separated right now, I know that he is growing, and I just keep sending him positive energy because I know that this is part of his growth. And this is part of his understanding, because I do believe that he's a very spiritual person. I do believe that he knows how to get to his center. And so my wounded child was his mother. which is
Mhm.
so
Exactly.
profound to me, so profound. I mean, I'm going through all of these memories in my mind about raising him and about lessons that he taught me that he wasn't even aware of. So, I wanted to go back because, and I know we're going to talk about the conflict and resolution. Um, women. I know women who have children who have issues with their children, and they turn this hardened heart, and or they're in a relationship and they keep getting the same sort of treatment, and they turn and they have a hardened heart. That's you got to talk to us about, help us to understand that similarity that we're having right now as adults in relationships as it relates to that poor child that never was healed and saw so much and was abused or neglected or felt insecure. And how do we turn that around?
Well, definitely. We, as mentioned before, we definitely have to be able to acknowledge. Okay, first step, that inner child exists, and then we want to reconnect with him or her. And like I did with you guys at the park, I just asked you to center yourself by performing 3 deep breaths, inhaling as deeply as you can until you feel like your lungs are about to explode, and then exhaling as completely as you can until you feel as if your chest is about to cave in. And preferably with your eyes closed, into the nose, out through the mouth, and doing those 3 times comfortably, not in a rush as if there's a deadline on your centering, on your exhalation or
Yeah.
inhalation, because people rush. Just inhale completely, exhale completely 3 times. Once you come out of that, picture yourself or allow the picture that's in your head to be acknowledged. That is the age that's representing the inner child that needs to speak with you at that moment. You see,
Mm.
if you believe or accept that the inner child can represent the time frame or the age bracket between ages 4 and 11, you have to understand that just as your adult self has different aspects to it because of different things it has experienced, so does your inner child. So you, Zena, may heal your inner child at age 3. And then once you're done with that and you've been tested and no more negative energy in regards to that experience is present within your soul, you may realize, oh, now I got to heal from something when I was, 8.
Sure.
Okay? And so with that being said, you just go back in because you want to heal all the aspects of your inner child that were damaged to give it more of an empowerment, an empowering presence in your adult self. Now, when we talk about inner child conflict and inner child resolution, as I given before, here's an example of inner child conflict. The best example I can give has to do with parenting. So it has to do with your child and your parent raises you, let's say, mom. Let's focus on mommy issues. Your mommy and daddy are there. You have a challenge relationship with your mom. But then at 42, let's say, you and your mom are best friends. Here's the deal. Your adult self may love your mom to death because of who she has become. However, your inner child, which never leaves us, remember,
Mm-hmm.
can still have issues with this woman because this woman was abusive and neglectful. This woman let people molest you, outright rape you. At times, she even sold you for cigarettes. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
That damage went nowhere. You lived with it and you made decisions based on that damage. And if
Yeah.
you had kids or entered relationships, there you go. You got into those serious situations as that damaged child. You just aged. Your body looked different. You grew hair. You cut hair, whatever. You got a job. You built a career. Still, that damaged inner child is present, and still that inner child conflict is present. And so, in order to heal the inner child, to have inner child resolution in regards to that sort of situation, you have to acknowledge that your mom was this evil person or this neglectful or abusive person. Like you have to.
Mm-hmm.
Even though you can go to her home and look at her and smile and hug her, if you were just sitting in the car in front of her house crying because you remember all the things she did to you, that's fine too. You have to release what the child was feeling. You have to help heal what has damaged the child in order for the adult self, who is aware of her inner or his inner child, to become fulfilled. You can become successful but that doesn't necessarily mean you become fulfilled. You can become fulfilled, and that automatically means you have been successful.
Wow. So I think that a lot of people, myself included, when, I've gone to different workshops and have been doing this personal development, spiritual growth for at least, I want to say 22 years. And Zenon really is my marker there, because when I was pregnant with him, I had a lot of awarenesses, and I knew that my life had to change. It not had to change, but that it was changing, that everything that I had gone through, and even to the point of having my children 10 years apart, almost to the month, that they're both born on the 10th, actually. So 10 years. So I'm going to have to look and see what happened at 10 years old for me.
Right?
Yeah, because they're both birthdays are on the 10th, and they're 10 years apart. And so when I look at how my life has evolved, and I've had a lot of success, and I've had a really great life, and I'm living a great life right now, but I don't want people to stop and say, "Oh my gosh, I don't want to deal with those memories. I don't want to deal with that stuff because, that's too painful." What I will tell you is go through the journey, because there is so much that the world, that the universe, that inner child wants to give to you. There's so much joy. There's so much abundance. And whatever you perceive as abundance, whether that's money or relationships or love or health or, material things, whatever that is, whatever your perception of that is, go through that, because I will tell you that since I've been going through this, so many things are opening up to me, because I'm removing stuff from me. So let me give you an example. I ended a relationship with someone who's great. First, I had a relationship with someone who I fell in love with, and that was great. That person opened up the door for me to fall in love with someone else, right? And that was great. And you're like, well, why are those relationships ending? Because they weren't meant to be. They were a season and maybe a reason, right? But now I'm moving into the evolution of my lifetime, because I am growing and evolving and loving myself. And yeah, I cry. I have breakdowns. I have moments of loneliness. But don't be scared of the resistance of going through those things and removing them from your pathology, removing them from the patterns of behaviors of attracting knucklehead men, of attracting knucklehead relationships, of being abused, or having, a job end after 4 days or a year, or not having financial stability, or not having good credit, or having bad relationships with your parents, or having bad relationships with your children. Don't be scared of going through that contrast in order to get to the celebration. And the celebration could be every day of your life. Now, I'm not saying it's, fireworks and balloons and all that. We all have to grow through this process. We all have growth. And the reason why things keep happening to you that are similar to the other thing, that are similar to the other job ending, that are similar to your bank account being depleted, to bad relationships, to you always picking unavailable men or divified women who are just needy and greedy. The reason why that keeps happening to you is because you haven't dealt with what is and what was and what still resides within you, right?
Right. I want to say a couple of things. I've been holding my tongue.
I know. Go ahead.
One thing, you talk about Zenon being your mirror, and I do believe I do believe in mirror relationships, and I don't know what the definition is of it as written, yet I do feel like in mirror relationships, the other person reflects your issues. However, I also feel that Zenon is a soulmate of yours. And I feel like his purpose in your life as a soulmate is for karmic purposes. soulmates aren't specifically religious beings in our lives. I mean, romantic beings in our lives. People use that term for that, okay, yet I take it literally. A compliment to one's soul should not be romantically based because the heart is damaged in itself, or can be. And so, therefore, it may not be able to make the judgment of, yes, this person compliments my soul. You see what I'm saying? So I believe in God. And so I believe as God allows the term of soulmate, I believe he believes it to mean or delivers it to mean that it is an energetic complement to another soul's energy. With that being said, there are 3 reasons that a soulmate can enter your life, and one is for karmic purposes. Another is to complete a project together, and the third would be to finish unfinished business. And that would imply that you likely knew that person in a former life. That's when you kind of meet somebody, and then you're just like, oh, wow, we just met 5 minutes ago, but I really feel like I've known you for 40 years, you know.
Sure.
That's that sort of spiritual energy that transcends time. Anywho, back to you and Zena. I do feel like that he is a soulmate of yours. I do feel like the reason is for karmic purposes. I feel like his whole conception started a phase in your life.
Yes.
And so, therefore, your life changed from the moment of conception.
Yes.
And things that you dealt with and your awareness, all that has been a part of your phase of discovery, self-discovery, self-unveiling, healing, emotional healing, psychological rewiring. All those things, I think, began as a result of the conception of Zenith.
Yes.
And I'm going to hold on to that. That's what I feel. He is a soulmate of yours. Now, when we talk about inner child resolution, because you said something very important, you mentioned how hard it is to go back, to relive an experience. And I just posted a quote on my Facebook, but I'm not going to cite the quote because I don't know what it is. Yet, to summarize, if your inner child, let's say she's 6 years old, and she can go through, let's say, a rape by an uncle, okay, and now you're 36 years old and you remember that, and you feel too fear-based to relive a memory that a 6-year-old lived through, I can't help you. You feel me? Because that your inner child should not be stronger than your adult self.
Come on
it
now.
should not. It should not. If it is, first of all, let me hug you. We got to hug each other, right? Let me hug you real tightly because something is incredibly wrong. And then secondly, after that hug, let me ask you again, how strong is your adult self? He or she has to be stronger than that inner child. And look at it this way. If you as your adult self cannot heal, will not readdress a situation that you acknowledge, okay, your inner child as having gone through, you are showing just as much disrespect and neglect for that child.
Wow.
And I'm sorry, but I'm getting emotional. Because it's unfair. It's unfair that so many adults are living as damaged, hurt, disempowered children. They have no idea of their total power because their inner child is still suffering from whatever it went through many, many years ago. And it's sad. It's really sad. And so I really appreciate being on your show today. I really appreciate talking about the inner child because that is a focal point for me. My sole purpose is to assist in the healing of others. And sometimes I swear I feel like I'm fighting people to help them heal. Yet I'll continue to fight. As long as there are those out there wanting to heal, you know, God is my source. And I'll continue to fight. It's just I really want, this is so special to me, for us to, if no one ever remembers anything else that I've said, remember this. Your inner child is the you before you were you.
Come on now.
Your inner child never leaves. Whether or not you acknowledge him or her, he or she is there and will be with you until your body deteriorates, until your life experience is over. So if you choose to go ahead and not acknowledge him or her, you can go ahead and live the adult life that you're living with your adult self being damaged. Yet if you choose to acknowledge him or her and you choose to heal and support and inspire and motivate and comfort that child, then the empowerment, the enlightenment, the wealth of abundance that your life experience as your adult self will receive, well, kudos to you.
Yes.
And share your story, just
yes.
like Zena did in the beginning, because each of us can help one another when we stop feeling so insecure, when we stop feeling like we're the only ones going through certain things, when we stop feeling like if I cry, my makeup gonna mess up, or I'm gonna appear weak. When we stop doing those things, we become stronger.
Amen.
Stronger like Zena.
Well, you know.
You got that last line?
Ooh. I mean, you have given me, you have gifted me, you have enlightened me, you have shared with me today. I just feel, you know, gosh, I wish I didn't have to go to work, because I would love to just walk in the park that I shared with you and just do some earthing and just sit with the sun, because I know that I'm going through it, and I know that I'm passing the test. So I feel right now, the energy that I feel right now is that I'm at the home stretch of this test, this timed test, right? And I'm about to kick ass on these SATs.
Yes, you will.
I'm about, you know,
and
so
look, and ain't nobody being paid, right?
Exactly.
For your test scores, ain't nobody being paid.
Exactly. Wow. You know, Tanya is such an amazing person. I'm going to let her share her information. But, you know, as we were going through this, I was thinking, God, we could do part 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But here's what I'm going to throw out to you guys, to my listeners, and to those people who listen in and who listen to the replay. I am going to coordinate a workshop with this woman, and we are going to find a way, whether if you are in LA or you are not in LA, that you will be able to participate in this. She is passionate about helping people heal. And when she says that she was fighting to help people heal, I remember I remember years ago working with you, and I remember like, whatever.
Exactly. I remember too, but I wasn't going to bring it up.
No, that's okay.
I remember.
I was like sitting there like, okay, whatever. But I mean, and I remember, and you remember that one time I told you, I said, your energy is a little harsh. Are you upset? And I get it now that that's the way you needed to talk to me years later, and even when I saw you at the park. This is the most loving, compassionate person. But let me tell you, if your spirit is in resistance and you're in denial, you're going to feel, because like she said, my son is my soulmate, which I do believe. And I do believe that soulmates do not have to be romantic, that they do come into this incarnation so that we can learn. So y'all women, let me just drop this real quick. Stop asking for your damn soulmate if you're not ready to do the work. Like, seriously,
right?
Your soulmate is not going to be this fine ass man coming in on this white horse with a, Maserati and all this stuff. Your soulmate is someone who is going to test you and challenge you and grow you and have you look at things about yourself that you haven't looked at in a long time. So stop talking, I want my soulmate. Look, not unless you're ready to do the work. Not unless you're ready to do the work. Because I had a soulmate for 2 years, and it was the most challenging relationship I have ever had. And I could say a whole bunch of negative things, but I won't, because I learned from that person. And it was work. We both were digging through those tunnels to try to find each other's heart. And we knew that it was there. So anyway. Hey, I'm going to wrap up today. Remember, we've got the podcast showcase September 14th, Saturday in Hollywood. Go to the Good News radio station and check out the link. If you want the Evite link or Eventbrite link, whatever it is, you can go on my Facebook page, Zena Contreras. I'm just like, you got me discombobulated, but in a good way. But in a good way. Hey, you can come out and see us on Saturday. Tanya's going to be there, and you can say hi to her.
I will be there with my eyebrows.
You could say hi to her and see this wonderful, loving, amazing spirit. There's going to be a lot of other people that are going to be there. And I promise you, if you are interested in attending a workshop, even if it's just for a couple of days, you got to email me, coach.askzena@gmail. And based upon the responses, Tanya and I will coordinate something. We'll find a nice restaurant with a banquet room. We'll find a hotel. We'll find someplace, because this woman is passionate and driven to help people stop living a wounded life. And I am there with you. I want you to use your voice. There are so many people that need to know what we've talked about today, but that need to just understand how to heal, how to go through that contrast, so that you can live in your divinity, so you can live in your wholeness, so you can live in your wellness. And I'm not just talking to the women, I'm talking to the men too, because narcissism. I'm not just talking to the women, I'm talking to the men, because I'm about to say,
amen,
that narcissism is prevalent in men more than in women. And all that is a wounded, broken spirit. There's there's a trauma that happened in your early childhood or generational trauma. I've done some research.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Or there's a generational trauma, or, so
You're just a damaged soul.
It's just a damaged soul, and we want to help you heal.
Damaged.
And we want to help you heal. So reach out to me at coach.askzena@gmail.com or on the social media platforms. Tanya, tell people how they can get in touch with you, and tell them about your event that you have coming up. And let's close this out with happy, healthy stuff.
Firstly, though, Ms. Zena, I need to say this. I was going to say it earlier, but as I listened to you talk, I understood why I heard wait. You are a soulmate of mine, and I am of yours. And here's the reason. You and I are supposed to complete a project together. It doesn't necessarily mean it's one project, but what it means is this. Whenever your soulmate comes into your life, and it's for one of those purposes, for example, karmic purposes, Zena didn't come into your life for a simple situation.
No.
Just like you said, your soulmate will challenge you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? They will influence, inspire, motivate, and encourage growth.
Yeah.
And healing, if you know how to accept them as your soulmate. Zena is your soulmate. I am a soulmate of yours. You are a soulmate of mine. You and I are to accomplish a project together. And then you mentioned this thing, and yes, we shall do this, and we probably will do more. This may become such a thing that is bigger than the both of us, and we have to allow it to go where it shall go.
Absolutely.
Now, for me, Soul Release, which is a monthly gathering of like-minded healing souls, convenes. I try to do them, actually. I'm starting to do them twice a month. So the next one will be this Saturday, September 14th, 1 to 3 p.m. And then the second one will be 2 weeks from then, which is September 28th, 1 to 3 p.m. It's going to be at a park in San Pedro, so you can contact me if you're interested in attending. And then I'll give you the directions. The Soul Release, I have it written down here, is a monthly gathering of like-minded healing souls focused on healing and becoming healed. That's it in a nutshell. No symbolism, no metaphors. Healing souls focused on healing and becoming healed. Because guess what? When we get together, guess what we're doing? We're not only practicing self-healing, we're healing others who have attended. We're sharing our energy. Yes. We're learning and growing with and from one another.
Yes.
So again, Soul Release is it's a healing event, and I do them twice a month. You can contact me on my website at www.soul, soul, SOUL, conversationsplural.com. Use the contact form, send me an email, let me know that you want to attend during the Soul Release. But I will tell you this, here's my disclaimer. I will feel your energy to see if you're a complement to the energy that is attending. My focus is to assist in the healing of others. If I feel that your energy is going to be disruptive in any way, I cannot have you attend. I am sorry. We can do a private session, but please understand that I use my energy now on a full-time basis to assist in the healing of others. I have to look at the greater good, okay? So the limit is 10 attendees. We keep it small. We keep it intimate. You have to be willing to be open, to be sharing. You cannot be critical, judgmental, or insecure such that you won't share yourself. You don't have to share a lot because you can get a lot from listening. Mm-hmm. Yet you will be asked to share some things. Did I cover all the bases?
Ooh, yes. My soul is springing. Hallelujah. I cannot endorse this woman enough. I cannot endorse this woman enough. She is amazing. She has helped me through my journey from Arizona. Well, actually, I met her in L.A. and I was in Arizona, or I was in Arizona working in L.A. And then helping me in my journey right now. And I do believe that we are soulmates. I just, the more that I spend time with you, the more that I get to know you, the more, and y'all can take this any kind of way, y'all, because people just will do. I am attracted to her spirit. Now, I'm heterosexual. Don't get twisted. Because people will think, exactly, she is too, right? But people will be like, what does that mean in this, whatever. Trust me, the growth that I'm experiencing, the tears that I shared today, have nothing in comparison to the joy that I feel. Nothing in comparison. I tap into not happiness, which is temporary. I tap into my joy every single day. And for the first time in my life, I can say I absolutely love Zena Marie. Yeah, I said Marie Contreras. I love who she is. I love who she's growing. I love who she's evolving to be. And I love the life that I live. Now, that's not about conceit. If you take it that way, there's a contrast. There's an issue with you. There's no issue with me. I'm standing in my wholeness, being perfect, whole, and complete right here, right now. Doesn't mean I don't have things going on. I've got a lot of things going on. But I am giving a lot and fulfilling a lot and moving in the direction of my divinity each and every day. So I'll go back to those childhood memories so that I can evolve and grow. So I hope that today was an opportunity for you to learn how you can have happy, healthy relationships. Reach out to Tanya, reach out to me at coach.askzena. We will do many workshops, Tanya. Many.
Yes, we will.
And I am calling that forth right now, and I'm speaking it into existence, telling the universe that you need to source, supply, and provide. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you so very much for tuning in to the Ask Zena radio show. Don't forget to check us out and listen to all of the other shows on the Good News radio station. I am out. You have a wonderful day, and I hope to see you for my birthday. Tanya, have a great day. We'll talk later.
Okay, take care. Bye-bye.